This was our first house. We got lucky and hit a home run first try, because it still is our house, and it has been for 23 years. And safe to say, for all of those 23 years, I've been working on it. Sometimes full-time with crews of people, sometimes poking away at it on the weekends. But for a handful of years now, it has felt sort of done. These sort of things are never done, but done enough that I've been able to put most of my energies elsewhere. Which brings us to this room, which is the last frontier. A little bit of work to be done here. There was a version 1 of this room completed 20 years ago or so, and since then it's been the bedroom for our 2 boys. And it really gave its life in the service of those 2. This is what it looked like when the last of them pulled out a few months ago and headed off to college. I am going to remodel this into an elegant office for my wife, dual-purpose guest room. And I am guilty of thinking it would be relatively easy and I could fit it in between other things. Now that I'm underway, challenges are creeping to the surface, and I'm gonna take this on full time, digging in this week. Laying the groundwork for and designing and implementing an office that is highly professional, as opposed to the studios and shops I'm accustomed to working in. I'm finding it to be a challenge. Compounding things is fitting a functional guest room into the same space, and it's a fairly small room. So a fair number of the big choices I'm kicking down the road. The way I'm doing that is avoiding the big project and tackling the closet. I've cleared it out, I've repaired a few things, I'm painting it, and I'm going to completely finish it. I will then have a small version of the big room that's completely done, and it might teach me a thing or two. Day 2 should certainly be able to completely wrap the closet today with a last round of detail paint work. Need electrical in here. I'm going to install an outlet using an existing light switch and then swap out the light for one with a pull cord. I'll be removing the old door threshold for reasons that will reveal themselves in a bit. Hey, a quick timeout. Clearly, this threshold is original and has never been pulled up before. For one, I adore how worn out it is, but underneath it is original unsurfaced oak floorboard, and this is a fat 16th inch above the current floors, which have been sanded and resurfaced many times over the years. I'm going to have all these floors refinished, so I will let them sand this down. Maybe I'll give it a little sand. Yeah, that's asking too much of a humble orbital sander. And what makes this entire remodel compelling is well represented right here, and I need to think about it today. Whenever I'm working with an architectural space, I ground a lot of my decision-making in the history of that space. So as I think about what to do with this room, I'm thinking about 1917 origins, but this room now has an important history for us from the last 20 years. And we don't want to wipe clean the impact our kids had on this room. Starting with the old measuring wall. It begins with some of the Kid the Older's toys. The first time he was measured on here, 2002, running all the way up to present day. Obviously, I'm not going to paint this over, but there's a lot of other interesting stuff in here to work with too. And the question is how to fold it in, to be tested. That's one refurbished closet. Happy with the paint? Enough to build enough confidence to continue on. I think I'll start with the doors and slowly move into the closet. This is going to house Hugo the dog supplies, among other things. And the reason I took out the threshold is that Hugo sheds so much fur that we've invested in a fancy robot, and it needs to travel in and out over a thresholdless doorway. All of this is furniture I built for this room. I remember making these in the ILM wood shop after hours, and they're perfectly fine for a kid's room. I don't think I want to incorporate them into the house at the moment. This table I also made for this room. It's made from giant, beautiful planks of wood that came out of this house, but I can't remember what they were from. But the wood is hard to see at this point because Kid the Younger did this to it over the years, which I love and plan to incorporate into the room now. I think Mrs. Cinodrome's desk is an L in that corner, and this can be one side of it. For now, I'm going to work on doors on it. These old solid doors are heavy and lovely. Day 3, door work, which is fussy and includes many pauses between steps, will be ongoing today. But in parallel, I'll tackle this wall, which provides a lot to tackle, including, importantly, some portion of it I really want to preserve in some way. Still scratching my head around that, I'll proceed with caution. Pulling 100 nails and patching looks like step 1. Luckily, I have a certain fondness for old walls and woodwork buried in many, many coats of paint. It may come from a romanticized notion of old apartments in New York that have been painted 1,000 times by landlords, but it's also, in an old home like this, part of what indicates its history. Even so, this is a little daunting. Kiddo painted and repainted this wall many, many times using a lot of metallic paints, and the layers of paint don't always even stick to one another. Yeah, maybe it's time for a break. Over here at the Cinodrome, a slightly darker, more colorful corner of the Cinodrome where we celebrate individuals locked in a healthy battle with the creative process. A great strength of the YouTube is its effectiveness in platforming people and practices that would otherwise be invisible to us. And I'm pretty sure my first exposure to the power of being allowed a glimpse into the details of someone else's labor came from Mr. Chickadee. He's a woodworker using old school techniques and old school tools. And he's really good at what he does, but I believe what makes his work really special is that in order for the rest of us to appreciate the work he does, some filmmaking chops are required. And the shot design and sound design in his films are rock solid, and importantly, perfectly appropriate to the story being told. He's part of a husband and wife team, and I do not know this, but I suspect she's the storyteller here. Purely a guess. And they aren't as active as they were at one point. I've linked to an older film which is representative of a lot of the great work put out by them. So give it a watch. It's a great excuse to slow down, have a cup of tea, and show them your support. Day 4. Some side projects have been spinning in the background. I'm modeling up the room in 3D to figure out the layout, which is a stumper, and shopping for fabrics, a few things like that. High time to lock down a paint strategy. This stencil of Felix the Cat, I believe done by Kid the Elder. And let's see if we can update the wall paint while preserving it in some form. Straight water clearly isn't the way to go as a thinner. While that texture it's making is pretty amazing, it's not what I'm looking for. White glue is a thinning medium, perhaps. So knocking back the black with a wash, fine. How to finish this off, I don't know. I could certainly do a really precise paint up to the outline of the stencil. My instincts tell me that would just knock the life out of it. I'm going to leave this for a while and move on to the big wall. I'm excited and relieved about something. As I was sanding into this wall, I was reminded how fantastic the texture can be after sanding through multiple layers of paint and plaster and gunk. That led me back to the measuring wall. I wasn't happy with the border I had painted around that. It wasn't a clean, precise border. It also wasn't a non-self-conscious paint up around it border. It was in some painful spot in between. So I went at the whole thing with the sander, and now it feels much more like a found object to me. The border doesn't call attention to itself as much. So now I know how to deal with this. I just have to determine how far to come in with my wall paint, but then I will eat into it with the sander until it feels good. Which brings us back to Felix the cat. To test a possible technique, I've painted up to and into some of these drips. What I want to see is if I can sand into this and if the sanding reveals the black in a nice way. There's promise here. I think there's a way through this one. Okay, no pressure. I really feel like I'm back in art school, worried about the marks made on a painting. One of my favorite painters, Robert Motherwell. Don't know how he did it, but I've got a Motherwell thing going on this border. I wish you were here. That's too much of a parabola. That's better. Okay, moving on. I've wrapped up paint with 2 full coats and detailed edging. It's all looking crisp and juicy. I stripped paint from and cleaned up the heating vent and the light switch. I've got my hands on black outlets. I'm on the hunt for mid-century Bakelite covers. The time has come to figure out Felix the stencil. I think I'm happy. Hugo, are you happy? I predict putting a wash over this might take it home, but I'm going to live with it for a while. Much more work to be done in here. Onward.